Hello everyone, welcome to another video with me, Womble Leader, on World of Tanks console, where we're at Vapor Ridge and we are in the Chinese Tier 8 medium premium tank, the King Dragon. And this isn't a match where I'm going to do anything particular spectacular. We're not going to do massive amounts of damage. It's just a game I think I can use to try and demonstrate to you some of the decision making that I make to stay alive in the game a little bit longer, keep my tanks safe in certain situations, and then hopefully I can maybe pass that knowledge on to you and help you to try and stay alive in certain situations, stay alive a little bit longer in the game, and hopefully start enjoying the game a little bit more. Because I can promise you, if you can start improving your survival rate in World of Tanks, you'll almost certainly improve your win rate. You'll almost certainly improve your enjoyment rate of the game as well if you're not dying too early in the battle, because World of Tanks is at its best when you get to the end game, when it comes down to those close nitty gritty games and you've maybe lost half your hit points and you have lost half your team, and it gets down to that 4 tanks each on each side. That's where World of Tanks is at its best. So if I can kind of maybe pass on some of the tips that I use to stay alive in games for longer, then hopefully it can help you to maybe enjoy the game a little bit more. So Vapor Ridge, if I spawn on this side, I like to come down to this position here. You can catch tanks crossing along that part of the map there, as we did with the WZ-131, a Chinese light tank. We put a shot into them. Now they're going up on to the sort of sniper ridge, if you like, for the tank destroyers to try and spot them. That's a problem for me because it means the tanks up there can't really support me in certain situations, so it means I can't really go too far forward there because I won't get any assistance from those tanks. The other thing I'm being careful of here as well is, if you may well have noticed, the Arty is trying to get a shot on us. Now I know if I keep that ridge there to the sort of direction that the artillery is firing from, it's very hard for the artillery to hit me. So it's what you call Arty safe in the game. Keep something between you and the artillery. It's very hard for them to lob a shot over. So I'm still trying to get another shot on this WZ-131. However, the Batchat 12T that we spotted up about a minute ago has came around behind us. That's a French auto-loading light tank, Tier 8, and he's going to be very much a pest for us, but it's a couple of shots into us. Now we did reverse there to try and get the armour facing towards the French tank as it drove past us, and now the WZ-131 is going to come in to try and get some further damage on us. Puts one shot into us, we put one shot into them, but we don't manage to get another one in before the reload. Now we've got the Batchat that's reloaded again, coming in behind us again. Horrible situation for me. He's putting round after round in. He's taking my ammo rack out as well. We're down into 261 hit points, getting absolutely harassed by these light tanks, so we are. Again, we just tried to get the armour facing them, and then all to make things matters worse, we've now got another auto-loading French tank, albeit a Tier 6 one this time, so we angled the tank nicely. We managed to bounce the rounds from the Tier 6 medium. The King Dragon has some sensible armour on the front of 100mm, I do believe, so up against a Tier 6, if you angle your tank correctly, you should be able to deflect most of their shots, particularly if they are firing standard rounds. Now we chase the I think it's like an M41 or something, and they are then removed from the game. Now our Batchat friend, he's reloaded, he's coming in once again, managed to predict the direction they were going to come from this time, and we managed to bounce all of their clip, or they miss, which was very nice indeed, preserving those 261 hit points. The artillery still try to take a pop at us as well, but again, we're still using this ridge here to keep ourselves arty safe, and I think they're firing armour piercing rounds anyway, so they'd actually have to directly hit us to actually do any damage. But it's been a frantic start to the game. The only saving grace we'd really had in this situation, because we never ventured too far forward, the light tanks that were harassing us couldn't really come round and actually aim their shots properly, or they would get, you know, fired upon from our teammates. So they actually had to do like drive-by shooting, which basically means they're probably auto-aiming, which meant we were able to kind of use the armour to a certain extent. And we've bounced nearly 1200 damage. We've actually done 1500 damage ourselves with 237 spotting, but we are down to 261 hit points, and it's a very close game of World of Tanks here. These are the best games of World of Tanks. See, when both teams are competitive and it's going to get down to the nitty gritty, we're both down to 8 tanks left here. This is where World of Tanks is at its best. These kind of rollovers, either if you're in a losing team or the winning team, are not anywhere near as much fun as these close games. Even if you lose these close games, I definitely find these to be the best games of World of Tanks. So anyway, the Batchat 12T that's been such a thorn on our side has been chased off by a Vanguard. Now, I really wanted to try and get a shot on this Batchat 12T if we could take him out of the game. Now, we did get a slight opportunity there, but we never pulled the trigger in time. And we can't sit up on that ridgeline, folks, because you've only got 261 hit points. It's a close game. I want to keep the tank in. You know, being alive at the end of this one could be the difference between winning and losing. And also, we're kind of out in the open there, so we're not going to get back into our little arty safe spot here before we decide what we're going to do next. Now, I'm still thinking that this light tank, who's now taken out our Vanguard, unfortunately, since they've come in for us 3 times, they must be kind of thinking about coming in for a 4th glory run to finish us off. So I've now got the assistance here of this other medium tank. It's a Polish medium tank, and if the Batchat tries to come round from that direction that we're looking at now, then he's going to get spotted by the Polish medium. So the only direction he can come from is that way we're looking, so we're going to point our tank that way. We keep it nice and angled, we just bounce about, and we're just trying to figure out where this light tank is now, and then make the decision. I'm actually going to relocate. I know there's a tank destroyer down that direction that's not been spotted for a wee while, so, and it's fairly open out there, so it's very hard to traverse the map without getting spotted, whereas we can kind of stay in the kind of riverbed here and keep our tank hidden. We then spot up the SU-130P and we get a nice shot into them, and they're removed from the game. That's a dangerous tank to remove. That was a nice snapshot from us, and then very handy to get them removed from the game. And then the light tank that was such a pest to us is actually then being destroyed over on the other flank. And this is looking very much like a win, with the enemy team just having 2 artilleries and 1 tank destroyer left. But, you know, we're still on very low hit points. I want to survive the game, and there is still the possibility we could lose, so there's no point kind of you know, driving it into the open and getting removed from the game at this stage. So even though it's looking like a win, I'm still going to use the terrain to my advantage to keep the tank hidden for as long as possible before we start to engage the enemy tanks that are remaining. So we're going to try and get a wee spot up on the sort of sniper ridge for the other team and see if that's where the artillery is lurking, and we pick up the M44 there. We wait till he loses most of their hit points and then we steal the kill. Why did we steal the kill? Because we're trying to get a kill from 250 metres plus in our medium tank in order to complete stage 3 of the AMBT contract. You'll see that I actually, after the artillery was dead, I actually checked to see what the distance was. 386 metres, job done. I then accidentally kill steal the second artillery as well, but you know what, we spotted them up, so I think we spotted them up, I'm not sure. Maybe we didn't, actually looking at the ribbons. Anyway, just a little tank destroyer left, and I want to kind of include this part of the game because I want to kind of, again, just sort of talk to you as I traverse the map here, what I'm thinking in terms of keeping the tank safe. So the last time I seen the Basotto, he was over to the northwest, so we're going to head in that direction, but we're not going to just drive there like a headless chicken. We've only got 261 points. I think they've got 300 alpha on their gun. They can remove us, so as we sort of head towards where we last seen them, we're going to kind of try and keep our tank safe. So we're up on this ridge here. If we get spotted, if the 6th sense goes off, we just duck to the left, we're safe, or to the right, we're safe. But you can't stay safe all the time. We've got a lot of open terrain to cross here, but I can see this ridge line here with the trees on top of it. We'll just drive towards there. If we get spotted, at least we've got some kind of cover to try and drive into before they can aim in for us. We then drive up on the ridge to see if we can spot them. If the 6th sense goes off, we can duck to the left hand side. And I'm just thinking the entire time as I am traversing here, what can I use to keep myself safe? What parts of the map, bushes, houses, rocks, ridge lines like we've got here, as we try and find this enemy tank in order to, if we get spotted or outspotted by the enemy tank, what can we use to keep ourselves safe? And you know what, it won't always work, but there might be a situation where you get spotted and 3 tanks can aim at you. If you can then move into a position where only 1 tank can aim at you, then your hit points are going to last a lot longer with 1 tank shooting at you compared to 3 tanks. So I would always suggest to you, whether it's the start of the game, whether it's the end of the game, always think how you can use the terrain on the map to keep your tank safe, keep your tank between gun lines, etc. And you will, I promise you, you will, if you start using that kind of tip, you will survive a lot longer. Your hit points will go a lot further, and Hopefully you'll start surviving more games, start surviving longer, having more fun, winning more games, learning more about the game, and hopefully all these kind of tips should help you to improve as a World of Tanks console player. Yeah, the Besottle wasn't where I went looking. Turns out they went back to the base. They got removed by our teammates, and that was the end of the game. Victory for us in the end, in a relatively comfortable manner, but it was fairly close at one point. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Hopefully I've maybe passed on something that you can use in your games going forward. We finished P2, and as I said, this was not a spectacular game from me. 2,200 damage, 1,400 assisted. It's not a terrible game by any means, but it's a fairly standard game for the King Dragon. But yeah, I just thought it was a nice game to try and demonstrate some of the tips and some of the thought processes I go through to keep my tank in the game. Appreciate you watching, folks. Catch you on the next one. Goodbye now.